Hi, this is Mike Howard from the Ronin Leadership Podcast, coming to you on a Monday morning, and hope all of you are doing well during this holiday season. It's going to be a real short video, not one of the longer podcasts, but it's something I wanted to talk about in the leadership context. If you've been following the news, you know that last week, three college presidents of elite universities. We're talking about MIT and Harvard and University of Pennsylvania testified in front of Congress. And they were brought up there to talk about anti-Semitism on college campuses. You've been seeing the news. There's been a lot of threats against Jewish students and even in some cases faculty. And so Congress wanted to address this issue. And it was amazing that these college presidents of these elite universities couldn't answer a simple question. The president of Harvard, for instance, was asked point blank, does the calling for the genocide of Jews, would that constitute a violation of Harvard's code of conduct? And the Harvard president said, well, that would depend on the context. And of course, the congresswoman that was asking the question said, no, it doesn't depend on context. It's a yes or no answer. And this weekend, Liz Magill, who was the president of the University of Pennsylvania, resigned amid, calls for her resignation because of what she said during her testimony. Again, and my point is that I don't care what side of the political spectrum you're on. This is talking about leadership, right? It's not being woke or having to contextualize everything to make sure that you're not, making sure you're not offending this group of people over this group of people. It's a very simple question. Calling for the eradication of any group, including Jews, is wrong. And they should have just said, yes, it's wrong. That will not be tolerated on our campuses. Now, they tried to walk it back, afterwards with tweets about, any kind of, I think the Harvard president was talking about, any kind of hate speech and this kind of stuff is not tolerated. But you didn't say it in front of Congress. You were trying to hem and haw and trying to play both sides, right? And you can't. Leadership means you need to step up in situations like this and forget that you're going to make it criticism from the pro-Palestinian side of the wing, or if you say something, something else, that you're going to get blasted by the pro-Israel side of the ring. At the end of the day, the question was very simple. Do you believe that calling for the eradication of Jews or for the genocide of Jews does that go against your university's code of conduct? Very simple. And if they can't answer that, frankly, they shouldn't be in those positions. If a CEO of a company is asked that and they can't answer that question, they should be removed. It's very simple. There's too many instances where so-called leaders like to hide in the gray areas, right? So they can be politically correct. And so you're not offending anybody. Well, that's leadership at some point means that somebody's going to get offended. Not everybody's going to like what you're trying to sell. So I was glad to see that this University of Pennsylvania President Magill resigned. She did the right thing, frankly. I mean, from a leadership perspective, I applaud that part. The other part about it is I understand from the news that the Harvard faculty are backing the Harvard president in this situation where they shouldn't be. Again, that's political correctness run amok. Now, you've got a lot of donors and Anti-Defamation League, donors to Harvard and Anti-Defamation League leaders that are calling for this Harvard president's ouster. Whether it happens or not, frankly, she should just resign and do the same thing that Liz Magill at University of Pennsylvania did and resign. Because, again, you're running one of the elite universities in the country. You've got all these students, the future leaders of our country, that you're responsible for, right? You and your faculty, your team. What kind of message does that send if you can't answer a simple question about whether calling for the genocide of a certain race or a certain religion, a group of people, doesn't constitute a violation of your university's code of conduct? I mean, it's a simple question, right? If you can't answer that, you should get out. So anyway, those are just my thoughts from a leadership perspective. Be willing to take a stance for what is right and forget trying to play politics or political correctness or making sure that nobody's offended. At the end of the day, you better have the courage of your convictions, because if any of these presidents actually believe what they were saying, and I don't think they do. I think they were saying it to be politically correct and make sure you're not offending anybody, because their subsequent tweets where they were saying, hey, yeah, we don't tolerate any kind of hate against anybody. Well, you didn't say it when you were pressed on it, right? So I think deep down inside, they probably don't have the courage of their convictions to say what they feel. And that's a problem when you're in a leadership position. You have to be, in situations like this, where it's clearly black and white, you need to call it out. So that's all I have. I just want to get that off my chest. I think it's very interesting to see how so-called leaders react in stressful situations. And frankly, this was an easy one, right? It wasn't a heavy lift to be able to answer correctly that no, any type of calling for genocide is not tolerated, and it would violate our code of conduct. Pretty simple to me. Be interested to hear what you have to say or what you guys think about it. So please feel free to comment, and we'll have some more. We'll have more of a regular podcast coming up soon. But I just want to get this out. It just was something that was weighing on my mind. So I'll talk at you soon, and you make it a good week.